Hello, my name is Ben Kelke, and this video would be about the firearm safety. As you all know, the COVID-19 virus or coronavirus has or have been or is playing a havoc on our society. The store ran out of supplies, toilet papers, some of the other necessities, and also the firearms became scarce. Ammunition became scarce, simply because folks ran to the stores and purchased everything that they could get their hands on. Some of these purchasers, some of these people who bought these firearms have very little experience with the firearm for the most part. Some of them are holding a firearm for the first time in their hand. And this video is designed for those folks who just bought the firearm and brought home, and what to do and what not to do with these firearms. We are going to talk about what is this place we are in. This place is Isaac Walton League Frederick Chapter 1, and we are a conservation group. As a part of our conservation, we do a lot of hunter safety classes, all the NRA courses, basic instructor level, Maryland concealed carry, DC concealed carry, and HQL for purchasing the firearm. And we have one of the best youth programs in the state. So this video is designed for you to understand and know the reason for the gun safety. My experience in the firearm, I am one of the master training counselors for NRA, and we are a team, and everything we do as a team, and we are collectively, we have a lot of experience in all aspects of the firearm. The heart of the matter is, when you have the gun, what you need to do. There are three basic rules have to be followed. These are the rules and regulation that NRA has come up with. It's not mine, but it makes sense and it is important to understand. First, it says always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. Second, always keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. And third, always keep the gun unloaded till you're ready to use. Let's dissect this. For most part, when I ask a question from the students in the classroom, experience or non-experience, about 90% of the time when I ask them, what should you do when you pick up a firearm? Every one of them, they would tell me, check it, make sure it's unloaded. Well, that's not the correct answer. The correct answer would be point it in a safe direction and then check the firearm whether it's loaded or unloaded. Because if you pick up the firearm and the firearm is loaded and you don't point it in a safe direction, before you find out what you need to do with the firearm to make it unloaded, the accident could happen. What is a safe direction? Everybody talk about the safe direction. It's pretty easy to understand, but let's use this room as an example. If you were in this room, you are going to pick up the firearm. Which direction is a safe direction? Up, down, right, left, behind, or forward? Well, let's look at the up. If you point it up, there are wires, there are equipment, there are HVAC, and everything else is on top, into the attic area. If you go down, point it down, there is a basement below. You don't know if anybody is there or not. You go to the right side, there's a parking lot, cars and people. You go to the left side, there is a range, there's a pavilion, the people might be there. Go behind me, block wall, and the ricochet. Go forward, the kitchen and equipment. So which way you point the gun? Think about it for a second. Well, my answer to you is, when you point the gun, if the gun and when the gun goes off, does least of damage. That means, in this case, up. Goes through the sheetrock, may or may not hit some of the pipes, may or may not hit some of the equipment, even though if it does, goes through the roof sheeting and then goes out. By then, hopefully, most of the energy is gone. So in this case, in this classroom, it's up. Let's say you're in your house. You have 3 levels in your house. basement, main floor, and upstairs. Which way do you point the gun? You got neighbors on both sides or all the way around you. You have to think about this. You have to use the gun. Some people say, okay, we're going to put the safety on when we pick up a firearm. Safety on a firearm is a mechanical device that can and will fail. Don't rely on it. But there is one absolute safety for the firearm, and it's not on the gun. It's within your ears, called brain. Please use it. So that's rule number one. Always point the gun in a safe direction. The next thing, rule number two. Always keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. For this case, when you pick up a firearm, point in a safe direction, make sure it's unloaded, and now, most everyone who picks up the firearm, whether it's a pistol, whether it's a shotgun, whether it's a rifle, the very natural thing they do, they put their finger in the trigger guard. They think this trigger guard has to protect their finger. This is not the proper way to do it. Your finger always should be above the trigger guard till you identify your target, what is beyond your target, and about to shoot. And that's the only time your finger goes into the trigger guard. Make sure this every single time happens. Most people who are not familiar with this, with the firearm, and most people who watch a lot of cowboy action movie and police movie, they see the finger in the trigger guard. Well, they may be, nice for the movie, but it's not real for the real life. Please keep your finger off the trigger guard. And that's the second rule. The third rule is always keep the gun unloaded till you're ready to use. You go to a range, you have your firearm, you have your bag, you have your ammunition. You want to load your gun in that spot and move the gun to the firing point. Please don't. When you get to the firing point, and you check your target, you know where you want to hit, what you want to do, then load your gun. You're going to tell me, okay, Ben, how about when I'm going hunting? What am I supposed to do? When am I supposed to load my gun? Well, you can load your magazine, which we're going to talk about the magazine and parts of the gun in the later videos. And when you go into the woods, at that time, you are ready to shoot. You just don't know what it is. The same as home protection at home, personal protection at home. You don't know when you need that firearm to use. So you have to keep it loaded. But however, with that action becomes responsibility. What are the responsibilities? You're going to have to make sure that gun is not accessible to anyone in your house under age of 16. In the state of Maryland, Maryland law says if someone under age of 16 have access to that firearm, if something happens, you're responsible. Let's say if that law wasn't in place, would you really conscious allow you to have a loaded gun in your house to fall into the children's hand? Make sure your gun is not accessible to unauthorized person. Who are unauthorized person? When I ask who is an unauthorized person, the first thing out of the mouth is children. Well, I train children, and we have youth program, and I trust them for, with everything that I can trust with because they understand and they have learned about the gun safety. Unauthorized person to me is whoever that you don't want your gun to be touched with. So that is unauthorized person. The next thing I want to talk about is the storage of the firearm. Your gun has to be stored in a safe locked position or closet or gun safe. And it has to be separated from the ammunition. You do not put the ammunition with your gun in the same case. What is the reason for that? It takes three things to operate the firearm: a person, a firearm, ammunition. Okay, I have my gun in the case locked. Could the lock be picked or broken? Of course it can. So if you have a person, you have a gun, and you have the ammunition over there, that is a disaster to happen. So what is the remedy to that? Keep your gun separated from the ammunition, preferably in a locked position. How about my home protection firearm? Well, there are many, many devices that you can use at home to have your loaded firearm secure and loaded and be ready to use. Okay? What are those devices? Some of the cases that they have combination. Some of the cases that they can read your fingerprints. Some of them they have a key. But this is only for the homes that you don't have grandchildren to come in or you don't have the younger kids to come in. If you need to use the gun for personal protection at home and you think you need to have the access to that firearm right away, one of the places I would suggest is between your mattress and boxer spring. Have a loaded gun there. It is not accessible. You know where it is, and you can access it yourself very quickly. Make sure what your target and what's beyond it. Okay, you're in a bedroom. The door is a certain way, and something happens. Somebody comes inside the house and wants to come into your bedroom. You're fast enough, coherent enough to grab your firearm and point it to that doorway. I have to ask you this. What is beyond that doorway? Are there a bedroom for the children? Are the bedroom for your mom or dad? Is anybody occupying those areas? Because the bullet will go through object, I can guarantee you, ask any hunter. So what's going to happen? Now we know the problem. What is the remedy? Set your bed in a relationship with the rooms around you that if you have to get engaged the firearm, you don't have to shoot them. You say, how? I can't tell you how. I'm not in your house, and you're going to have to figure it out yourself. If there is home invasion coming in, because most of you bought these firearms for protecting yourself and your family at home. If something like that happens, you hear some footstep inside the house or coming up the steps, you walk out there and you say, who's in my house? Get out. I have a firearm or I have a gun and I will shoot. If they turn around and run away, you cannot shoot them. If you do, you are the one who's going to go to jail. Because the law says you only can protect yourself when the imminent bodily harm or danger or death is imminent toward your loved ones and yourself. So if the assailant turns around and runs away, what is the imminent danger? None. We are going to talk about personal protection at home, personal protection outside the home, different type of the firearms, shotgun versus rifles versus handguns, and all of these are going to be the little video clips for 10-15 minutes that we're going to talk about. But my best advice to you is, here in Isaac Walton Lee Frederick, we have one of the best firearm training team. But I can tell you is there are a lot of other organizations in town or in the state are just as good as we are. But however, I doubt if anybody better. You have a lot of good places to go to, a lot of good education to take. Contact NRA, their training department. There are classes scheduled all over the place. Please take advantage. Don't just take the gun home that you think you're going to pick this gun up and you're going to shoot this gun up to be safe. Because in that case, by the time you get to the firearm and that assailant is in your house, even though if they don't have a gun in their hand or knife or bat, they can grab that firearm from you and use it against you. That is very important to understand. Educate yourself, educate the house occupants, and make sure they understand do's and don'ts about this. You always can ask myself or any member of any training team to get that information, specific information. We put my email on the box below, and also Isaac Walton Lee Frederick Chapter 1. God bless. Wait for other videos. Thank you.